In 2023, U.S. Customs and Border Protection seized over 5,000 shipments of illicit textile valued at more than 129 million. This staggering figure represents not just the lost revenue and brand damage, but a critical threat to national security, fair labor practices, and environmental sustainability. Today, we'll explore how the 1.7 trillion global counterfeit market is infiltrating our supply chains and what we as industry leaders and policymakers must do to protect our economy, our consumers, and our values. What is illicit trade? Illicit trade in textiles specifically is a illegal movement and sales of textile products across borders, violating trade laws and regulations. It's a global issue because it impacts multiple industries from fashion to home furnishing, but not just that, but also our automotive industry, our medical, pills, health industry, and across all of the supply chain. But today's focus is going to be textiles. So the counterfeit goods include mislabeled products and items produced used forced labor. The textile and apparel industry supply chain vulnerabilities in counterfeit goods poses a significant threat to legitimate manufacturers. So there's production overruns, unauthorized access to productions can lead to parallel trading and brand dilution. There's a return fraud where counterfeit products being returned as genuine items causing financial losses. Labor exploitation, poor working conditions, low wages, and forced labor are prevalent, especially in developing countries. And the environmental impact. The industry contributes significantly to global carbon emission and water consumption. And then the supply chain disruptions, geopolitical tensions, pandemic, and natural disasters can severely impact production and distributions. Lack of transparency. Complex supply chains make it difficult to trace product origin and ensure ethical standards. Quality control issue. Outsourcing to multiple suppliers can lead to inconsistent product quality. Inventory management. Small brands struggle with stockpiling inventory, making them vulnerable to disruptions. Delayed shipment. Global logistics issue can cause significant delays in product delivery. And order cancellations. Disruptions can lead to canceled orders, affecting both suppliers and manufacturers. These vulnerabilities highlight the need for improved supply chain management, increased transparency, and robust anti-counterfeit measures in the textile and apparel industry. So there are various counterfeit trade facilitators. One is the consumer cop-out mentality. Consumer cop-out mentality, it refers to a tendency among consumers to shrink accountability for their purchasing decisions, disregarding the moral or long-term effect of consuming decisions. Frequently characterizes this mindset. This mindset may be connected to impulsive purchasing habit. According to research, 40 and 80 to 80% of all purchases are impulsive, demonstrating how common non-rational decision-making is in consumer behavior. Then the second one is the desire for exclusivity and instant gratification. One of the main forces behind consumer behavior is the need for exclusivity and instant gratification. Materialism and compulsive buying behaviors are directly linked to this facet of consumer psychology. Materialistic consumers struggle to manage purchasing behavior and frequently experience stress and decreased subjective well-being. This research is done by Gabriela Mazzilla and Shambera in 2022. Impulsive purchase is defined by abrupt, intense emotional need with little cognitive control, and it can result from the demand for instant gratification. Third one, lack of critical thinking. One of the main causes of harmful buying pattern is consumers' need for critical thinking skills. This is especially noticeable in how young people react to advertisements. According to research, critical thinking skills are not fully formed during adolescence, and they may not always protect against the negative effects of advertising. Customers are only sometimes protected from forming favorable opinion about promoted brands or goods, even when they are more knowledgeable about advertising strategies. Fourth one, addiction to consumerism. In recent years, consumerism has gained attention due to addiction to various forms of consumption. 1 in 20 consumers experience addictive buying behavior driven by materialism. This compulsive buying can lead to social and psychological issues and contribute to environmental problems. Addressing consumerism requires a multifaceted approach, including consumer education, policy intervention, and reevaluation of societal values. Last but not least, social media. Social media platforms have become inadvertent facilitators in the distribution of this counterfeit textiles. This type of distribution is easy because it's easy access to these products. It could be t-shirt or hoodies, and it's made possible by well-known platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Amazon and Snapchat for people to sell these products, these counterfeit goods online. The role of technology. Technology can be positive and negative. So, and this particularly right now, we're going to talk about how while technology primarily aids in combating counterfeits, it can also be misused by counterfeiters to produce fake textiles. They use advanced printing, high-quality printers, and imaging technology to allow the counterfeiters to create convincing replicas of logos, patterns, and labels. Digital design tools, softwares for textile design them to enable the creation of near-perfect copies of original pattern and designs. Online marketplace, e-commerce platforms provide counterfeiters with easy access to global market, making it difficult to track and remove fake listings. Again, back to social media. Counterfeiters use social media platform to advertise and sell fake products, often mimicking legitimate brand accounts. Reverse engineering. Advanced imaging and analysis tools can be used to deconstruct genuine products, aiding in the creation of convincing counterfeits. And so supply chain infiltration, sophisticated tracking systems can be exploited to introduce counterfeit goods into legitimate supply chains. AI and machine learning. These technologies can be misused to improve quality of counterfeit products by analyzing the pattern and material of genuine items. Blockchain manipulation. While blockchain is used for authentication, skilled counterfeiters might find a way to manipulate or bypass these systems. It's important to note that while technology can be misused, it remains a crucial tool in fighting against counterfeit when properly implemented by legitimate manufacturers and brands. Stakeholder perspective, DHS strategy. The Department of Homeland Security announced an enhanced strategy on April 5th, 2024 to combat illicit trade in textile and apparel products. This strategy aims to protect the American textile industry, which accounts for over 500,000 U.S. jobs, and it is critical for national security. The key elements of the DHS strategy include intensified targeting of small package shipments, joint trade special operation between U.S. Customs and Border Protection and Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, increased customs audits and foreign verification, expansion of the Uyghurs Forced Labor Prevention Act entity list, strengthen enforcement effort to deny preferential duty treatment under the agreements like USMCA and CFTA-DR for violators, increased penalties and seizures and criminal investigations for those engaged in illicit trade. This strategy has already shown results in fiscal year 2023. CBP made 5,016 textile-related seizures valued at over $129 million, and $266.6 million was protected and recovered from misclassified, undervalued, or unsubstantiated free trade agreement claims. 1,859 penalties and liquidated damages were issued against violators, and over 780 shipments related to forced labor valued at over $40 million were detained and reviewed. This enhanced strategy shows that DH's commitment to protecting the U.S. textile industry from counterfeits and illicit trade practices. The Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act was signed into law in December 2021 and went into effect on June 21, 2022. This law aims to prevent goods produced using forced labor in China, Xinjiang, Uyghur Autonomous Region from entering the U.S. market. The key provisions for this the Uyghur forced labor is a rebutable presumption that assumes that all goods produced in Xinjiang are made with forced labor and are therefore prohibited from entering the United States. There's a high burden of proof. Companies must provide clear and convincing evidence that there is no forced labor was used in any part of their supply chain to import goods from Xinjiang. No de minimis exception. The law applies to all goods, regardless of the amount of material sourced from Xinjiang. Impact on global supply chain. It declined the U.S. cotton apparel imports. There has been a notable decrease in U.S. imports of cotton apparel from China since the UFLPA implementation. The shift in sourcing patterns, fashion companies have begun adjusting their sourcing base to comply with the laws and mitigating forced labor risks. There has been increased U.S. cotton exports. It's been on the rise in the U.S. raw cotton exports to countries like Vietnam, Bangladesh, and CFTA-DR nations. The challenges and compliance in this: supply chain transparency. Companies are required to provide unprecedented level of disclosure on their supply chains to have their products released for entry into the United States. Detention of shipments. Several high-profile apparel companies have had shipments detained by U.S. Customs and Border Protection due to insufficient evidence of forced labor-free production. Economic impact. In August 2022 alone, CBP targeted 838 entries valued at more than $266.5 million for suspected use of forced labor. In the ongoing development, expansion of entity lists, in May 2024, the Forced Labor Enforcement Task Force identified an additional 26 entities in the textile sector for inclusion in the UFLPA entity list. Proposed legislation change. The Uyghur Genocide and Slave Labor Prevention Act aims to expand existing restrictions on federal contracts with entities associated with labor right abuse. This demonstrates that the far-reaching impact of the UFLPA on global supply chain, particularly in the textile industry, and highlighting the ongoing efforts to combat forced labor practices in the Xinjiang region. Policy issues. The economic impact. Counterfeit goods cause significant economic losses to legitimate businesses and the overall economy. This includes lost sales, reduced tax revenues, and hindered economic growth. National security. The textile industry is critical for national security, and counterfeit products can undermine this sector. Labor rights and human rights. Counterfeit textile production often involve exploitative labor conditions and human rights violations, contrasting with efforts to improve working conditions in legitimate industries. Consumer safety. Counterfeit textile poses a potential health and safety risk due to substandard materials and lack of regulatory oversight. Intellectual property protection. The trade in counterfeit goods violates trademark and copyright laws, stifling innovation and creativity in the fashion industry. Trade agreement compliance. Ensuring compliance with free trade agreements like USMCA and CAFTA-DR is crucial for maintaining fair trade practices. Border control and customs enforcement. There is a need for enhanced screening and enforcement measures to prevent the entry of counterfeit goods, particularly through small package shipments. International cooperation. Addressing the global nature of counterfeit trade requires collaboration between countries and international organizations. Supply chain integrity. Maintaining transparent and secure supply chain is essential to prevent the infiltration of counterfeit textiles. Consumer awareness. Educating consumers about the risk and impact of purchasing counterfeit goods is an important policy consideration. Consequences. Counterfeit textiles have significant negative consequences on humans, the environment, and supply chain. Human impact. Health and safety risks. Counterfeit textiles often contain toxic dyes and chemicals, leading to skin irritations, rashes, and other health issues. Exploitation of workers. Counterfeit productions frequently involve modern slavery, with workers subjected to harsh conditions, long hours, and inadequate wages, and unsafe environments. Consumer deception. Buyers unknowingly purchase low quality or potentially harmful products, undermining trust in brands and the market. Environmental consequences. Increased pollution. Counterfeit manufacturers often use pollution creating machinery and materials, disregarding environmental standards. Waste generation. Low quality counterfeits have shorter life cycles, contributing to increased landfill waste. Up to 5% of global landfill waste comes from counterfeit goods. Chemical contaminations. Unsafe disposal of practices of counterfeit products can lead to long-lasting ecological harm, contaminating water sources and ecosystem. Undermining sustainability efforts. Counterfeits undermine the sustainability initiative of legitimate brands using environmentally harmful materials and processes. Supply chain impact. Economic losses. Counterfeit causes significant economic losses to legitimate businesses, reducing sales and tax revenue. Supply chain integrity. The infiltration of counterfeit compromises the integrity and the transparency of global chains. Increased costs. Companies incur high costs due to product recalls, legal actions, and implementing anti-counterfeiting measures. Brand damage. Counterfeits can severely damage brand reputation and consumer trust, affecting long-term business prospects. Logistic challenges. The surge in small package shipments of counterfeits complicates customs authorities' efforts to trace and intercept these goods. By addressing the counterfeit textile issue, we can mitigate these harmful effects on human health, the environment, and global supply chain, promoting a more sustainable and ethical industry. Solutions. As we discussed earlier, technology can be a problem, but in this situation, it could be a solution as well. Product authentication. We could use advanced technologies like holograms, QR codes, RFID tags, and serialized labels to enable quick and reliable identification of genuine products. Chemical tags, applying invisible chemical tracers to textiles that could only be detected using dedicated scanners and making it extremely difficult for counterfeiters to replicate. Track and trace systems, implement systems that assign unique identifiers to each product unit, allowing stakeholders to monitor its journey from manufacturing to the point of sale. Securing supply chains, carefully vet suppliers, conduct regular audits, and use technology to create transparent supply chains. Employee training, educate staff on recognizing counterfeit goods and implementing reporting systems for suspicious items. Consumer awareness, launch education campaigns to inform consumers about the danger of counterfeit goods and how to identify authentic products. Legal action, register your trademarks and actively pursue legal actions against counterfeiters to deter future attempts. Monitor online monitoring, consistently monitor online marketplace and social media platforms for counterfeit listings. Record your brand registration with custom authorities to facilitate quick detainment of suspicious shipments. And these strategies by combining all these strategies, textile manufacturers and retailers can significantly reduce the risk of counterfeit products entering the market and protect their brand and integrity. My name is Sumaya Jibril. I'm a licensed customs broker. My company is Phoenix Global, and this is our contact information. Thank you for attending this webinar. Have a great one.